Right now, the tech world is running a massive collective sprint. Companies are happily paying out $300,000 salaries to people who claim to know the exact magical incantations to make an AI behave. We have turned token optimization into a highly competitive sport. Tech professionals are constantly tweaking their syntax, promising to tip the AI $20 or telling it to take a deep breath, all to squeeze out a marginal increase in accuracy from an API call. But if you look closely at the mechanics of this hype cycle, you realize something stark. Prompt engineering, as it exists today, is a dead-end career built on shifting sand. To understand why these modern token wizards are chasing a disappearing profession, we have to look backwards hundreds of years to a dusty marketplace and a completely forgotten class of workers. Imagine you are an everyday citizen in a 14th century village. You have a complex, highly emotional message you need to send to a local magistrate, but you do not know how to read or write. Even if you had the education, communication carried a brutal physical tax. A single piece of high-quality parchment could cost a worker's weekly wage, and ink was a premium chemical commodity. So you went to a professional scribe. This historical medieval parchment document shows a scribe's work. They translated your messy story into a structurally flawless format. Because of extreme material costs, scribes charged by the word, packing maximum meaning into minimum physical space. The immense societal prestige of the scribe relied entirely on the scarcity and expense of their physical medium. If you strip away the sleek modern interfaces, we have recreated that exact same marketplace today. This graphic shows a modern AI API pricing sheet. The models charge by fractions of a cent per 1,000 tokens. The LLM context window is our new parchment, and the API tokens are our new ink. But there is a second layer to this cost, rooted in machine cognition. Large language models operate on statistical probability and attention mechanisms. Every piece of conversational fluff forces the neural network to misallocate computing power, scattering its capability. The modern prompt engineer structures strict constraints, using high-density token formats to laser-focus the machine's attention onto the exact required outcome. This technical wizardry is purely a temporary workaround. We are actively compensating for an immature algorithm's attention deficit. This photograph shows workers operating mid-century mainframe computers. It illustrates a recurring, solvable pattern in computer science. Whenever a new computational technology emerges, humans initially warp their own behavior to accommodate the machine's physical limitations. We see this perfectly in this vintage computer punch card. The early professionals who knew exactly where to punch these physical holes to input rigid mathematical instructions were treated as irreplaceable experts. Computer science relentlessly builds higher layers of abstraction. We moved away from the hardware, stepping up to assembly language, then to C++, and then to Python. With every upward step, the burden of translation shifts away from the human and onto the machine. Token squeezing and semantic styling today are the 21st century equivalent of the punch card. They represent a temporary linguistic bottleneck waiting to be absorbed by the next abstraction layer. That collapse is happening in real time. Context windows have rapidly expanded from a few thousand tokens into the millions, rendering token scarcity an economic non-issue as processing costs plummet. At the same time, models are learning to interpret our messy human intent natively. They are trained to read between the lines and effortlessly extract meaning from bad grammar. The economic reality is severe. The moment a machine can perfectly execute a rambling, poorly phrased voice memo from a tired executive, the market value of optimizing those inputs drops to absolutely zero. So where does that leave your career strategy? It means you need to stop training your brain to think like a limited machine. When the cost of technical execution drops to zero, the market reorients toward human curation. The new economy will heavily reward human taste, your own ability to recognize a genuinely brilliant output rather than accepting a mediocre one. It demands rigorous domain expertise. The highest paid professionals will be the ones who possess the critical discernment to spot the subtle, dangerous hallucinations the AI misses, and the imagination to ask the questions the machine would never think to ask itself. The scribes of the medieval world eventually vanished, but the impact of what we could build with the written word exploded. Stop focusing on the syntax and start mastering the problem. Hit the subscribe button to learn the exact human skills you will need in this post-prompt economy, and I'll see you in the next one.